People wrote the meanest stuff in the comments. Adam a fat slob. The thing is, when you're cooking for yourself, you can break every rule. Nobody knows, nobody cares. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Amateur Gourmet Show. I'm your host, Adam Roberts. Today we are making breakfast, but not just any breakfast. We are making a spectacular array of foods on a breakfast plate. We are going to be having blueberry muffins, scrambled eggs with caramelized onions and cheese and herbs, and bacon, crispy bacon, and we're going to do it all at the same time so everything is ready at the same time. That sounds crazy, but I'm going to pull it off and I'm going to show you how to do it. So here we go. So we're making two things today that involve butter. The first is blueberry muffins, which calls for 5 tablespoons of melted butter that's cooled. So in order to have that be cooled by the time we make the batter, we're going to start by melting the butter in the same skillet that we're going to be making the eggs. So it's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. While that's melting, I'm going to slice this onion. Now, you've been to my slicing school before. I have a new knife. I don't know if I showed it to you. This is so sharp. And the premise of slicing an onion, again, is the sharper your knife, the less you cry. And this is so sharp, so I'm not going to cry this time, I promise. So we're going to slice the top off, we're going to slice the root end off, we're going to slice this in half. So again, when you're slicing, you want to curl up your fingers, make a little wall like this, and it protects your hand. So then you go down, 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 and again, the sharper your knife, the less you cry. And the reason you don't cry when your knife is sharp is because it doesn't spray as much onion juice in the air as when your knife isn't sharp. So there we go. So now we're going to pour the melted 5 tablespoons of butter into our vintage Pyrex bowl. You don't have to have a vintage Pyrex, but it helps. And now we are going, Christopher laughed at that, he liked that. Okay, so now we're going to melt this butter. So we're throwing this onion in the skillet with the butter. So this seems like a lot of onions. If I told you we were putting this amount of onions with 6 eggs, you'd sound like Craig. You'd be like, wow, Adam, that was a lot of onions. And notice that I seasoned them with salt, by the way. So this next part is basically we're gonna start the onions on their journey by getting them a little brown at first. So we're gonna brown them on high heat. And that's just gonna start the process. But the most important step with onions like this is to lower the heat and let them slowly cook. But like, you see how these are coated in fat? And the word fat is scary. These are coated in butter, let's not say fat. And that's just gonna make them delicious. Okay, so as you can see, this is starting to brown a little. And you can also see that it's starting to shrink a little. And when we add our eggs later, hopefully if this goes according to plan, we won't be overwhelmed with onions.
I know you can be overwhelmed, and you can be underwhelmed, but can you ever just be whelmed?
And we're gonna let that go on medium-low heat. You don't want it to be as bubbly as that is. You want it to sort of be gently going. And the reason I do this first is because we are now gonna make the blueberry muffin batter, and we're gonna be baking the muffins, which take 25 minutes. So by the time the muffins are done and the bacon is done and the eggs are ready to go in, these will be caramelized. Remember my technique of writing down a baking recipe with a magic marker on a big piece of paper, just to have it in front of you so you're not constantly looking at your phone. This one comes from my friend Deb Perelman of Smitten Kitchen. This is not my recipe, so don't sue me, Deb. This is her best ever blueberry muffins. The very first step, the most important step here, is to spray your muffin tin with Pam, or whatever spray you have. So we have the 5 tablespoons of melted butter in a vintage Pyrex bowl, and then we're gonna add half a cup of sugar. Zest of a lemon. I'm gonna depart from Deb's recipe and not only use a lemon, I'm gonna also use an orange. So, you know, people say I'm wild and crazy.
Who says that? No one says that.
And that's why, because I do stuff like this. This is actually a Meyer lemon from the Meyer lemon tree. Okay, but this orange is a Cara orange. So I love orange zest in a blueberry muffin because I think orange flavor and blueberry flavor go really well together. So now we're gonna whisk together the butter with the sugar, which is a very typical first step in the baking recipe. So now I'm gonna do 3/4 a cup of sour cream. Sour cream adds lightness and richness. So how bad could that be? Okay, so now we're going to whisk that in. We're kind of just doing this one by one. And the next ingredient is an egg. So whenever I watched Paul Hollywood crack an egg, he always got it perfect every time. Like he always cracked it, came out beautifully, never a shell. And I realized what he does is he cracks it hard. I don't think I did it. No, I did it, but it wasn't perfect. I think it's all about confidence. Like you need that Paul Hollywood crack. All right, so we got the sour cream, we got the egg, and now we're almost there. Now it's just all about the dry ingredients. 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. She says 1/4 teaspoon salt. I like a little more salt in my pastry, so I'm gonna do 1/2 teaspoon. The thing about salt in pastries is that you probably won't notice it. It just makes the food taste poppier, like pops in your mouth. All right, now I need the 1.5 cups flour. So that's 1 cup, and it's 1.5 cups total. So now we're gonna whisk that in. And as we whisk, you're gonna see that it's starting to become pretty solid. Don't get that on the camera. So these are my dried blueberries, which I'm gonna now pour into this. That's a lot of blueberries. I think it's more than the recipe called for, but we're just gonna go for it. It's healthy. Blueberries are very good for you. So now we're gonna work this all in. You notice I didn't work in all the flour yet, and that was on purpose because I don't wanna overwork the dough, because if you overwork the dough, it's gonna be tough because you will have developed the gluten. So here's my ice cream scoop. This is like the classic Ina Garten trick, the classic muffin trick. It's a classic baking trick where you use an ice cream scoop to get every muffin the same size. So you fill up your scooper, plop it in, do it again. Fill up your scooper, plop it in, do it again. Now the final little twist to this recipe that Deb has you do is to add turbinado sugar, AKA sugar in the raw. If you don't have this, if your grocery store doesn't carry this, my advice is to go to Starbucks and steal some.
Bad boys, bad boys.
I'm just kidding, Starbucks, please sponsor our videos. So we're gonna sprinkle this on top, just to give it a little crunch and a little pizzazz.
Where's the pizzazz, baby?
All right, so this is going in the oven for 25 minutes. And the oven's at 375, which is about to become very important because we're also gonna bake our bacon in the oven. Yes, you heard me right. The bacon is going in the oven. So, watch this great trick. This is pretty wonderful. My friend Nicole Rucker, who's an incredible baker and chef, taught me this trick. Take your cookie sheet, line it with foil, you look at your cute dog. I like to spray the cookie sheet with a little cooking spray, just because you don't want your bacon to stick. Okay, so we're gonna use Nuski's bacon. This is not a sponsored video. This is just what I use. This is what a lot of chefs use. It's applewood smoked bacon. It's always fantastic. How many pieces of bacon would you like? 3. 3, okay. Oh, look at my Winston is like going crazy.
He's out of control.
And now, this is the hardest part. You just put it in the oven. My next thing I'm gonna do is get my eggs ready to go. This is another trick that I learned. This one I learned from Kenji Lopez Alt, which is that if you salt and pepper your eggs like 20 minutes before you cook them, it changes their texture and makes them more tender. Yeah, look how slow this is going. And if it looks too fatty, don't worry, because that amount of butter that's outside the onions is what the normal amount would be that you put in your eggs, so it all works out. Okay, so now I'm gonna crack 6 eggs. I like to do 3 eggs per customer.
Customer!
It should be 1 crack. 1 crack. See? It's all about confidence. So much of cooking is confidence.
I have confidence in me.
As somebody who's not very confident, I think it's been good for me to cook. All right, so we got 6 eggs. For that amount of eggs, I'm gonna take 3 fingers, I'm gonna pinch this kosher salt, I'm gonna sprinkle it over. I think that's good, so I stop there. And then I'm also gonna grind in some fresh pepper. I have 2 pepper grinders. This one was a gift from Craig for Christmas Hanukkah. This one I bought in Paris when we went on a trip there. The one that Craig gave me is a Peugeot, which is a really fancy one, but it doesn't work. And I don't know why, but it doesn't grind pepper. And I tried everything. The one I got from Paris works beautifully and just a coarse grind of pepper. So I'm not saying Craig's a bad husband. I'm just saying he's bad at buying pepper grinders.
Wow.
Okay, so now we're gonna grab another whisk and we are going to whisk that. And you could add milk. In fact, I'm gonna add a splash of milk here. Milk in eggs. You can also add water. I think the best way to describe what it does is it makes them a little fluffier, but it also helps them come together in a way, actually. And now we're gonna prep the other things going into our eggs. So now what we're gonna do is grate some cheese. Okay. So we got that cheese. This is for nibbling. This is flat leaf parsley. And I think this is your best friend in the kitchen. It covers a multitude of sins.
Well, I don't believe in God.
If your eggs turn out overcooked, if they don't look pretty, tons of parsley. I also think parsley is great on a breakfast plate like this because it gives a pop of green. Here's how I deal with parsley. I just do that. So with my very sharp knife, I'm going to chop this parsley. Okay, so here's the bacon. I think it looks perfect. So now we're going to try to pour the fat into this bowl because bacon fat is a wonderful thing to have. You can use it to cook eggs, you can use it as in salad dressing, you can use it in pastries. And now we have to take the muffins out of the oven. It's just a wonderful coincidence that this muffin recipe cooked at 375 and my bacon recipe cooked at 375. So we've got muffins, we've got bacon, and now we just gotta do the eggs. As you can see, these onions have been cooking for about 40 minutes and they're gorgeous and golden and caramelized. And now, the final step. I'm just gonna whisk this together one more time and we're gonna add it to the skillet with the onions. And you know, cooking eggs is an exercise in exploring your own personality.
Who am I?
It's funny because I'm known in my relationship as being quote unquote impatient. And therefore the classic egg technique of slowly stirring your eggs until they slowly come together, which is what chefs do, which I have no time for. So what I do is I crank it up to like medium high. This is my impatience. And you can see the curds are forming as we're going, the pieces of egg are coming together. And as long as you scrape the bottom of the skillet so it doesn't dry out, you can keep your eggs moist. I know everyone hates that word. And as we're at this stage, which is pretty far along, we're gonna add the cheese. I'm just going past the point of it being a little raw looking. Okay, I think we're good. So, scrambled eggs onto the plate. Now, we have 3 pieces of bacon per person. That's still very hot, but I'm a professional. And we wanna sprinkle the eggs with parsley. Remember I told you the parsley makes it look fresh and beautiful. And then the final piece de resistance, the blueberry muffins. Look at that. Beautiful blueberry muffin. All right, well look at this beautiful plate of breakfast. You've got a little bit of everything. And this was so easy to put together and way cheaper than going to a brunch restaurant where you have to wait an hour and a half in line.
I don't assume you hungry little piggies can hold your little piggy hunger in your piggy bellies for 2 hours, can you?
All right, so let's taste our work, the fruits of our labor. These eggs came out just how I like them. They're not too custardy, but they're not overcooked. Mmm. That's good. So if you enjoyed this, please subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram @amateurgourmet, and we'll see you back here next week.